They say the tiniest habits often bring the largest changes. That was the idea in my mind one peaceful morning as I stood in my kitchen holding a jar of golden honey. Nothing fancy, just raw, natural honey. I took 1 tablespoon and mixed it into a warm cup of water, not hoping for much, but something told me to keep going. And so I did for 30 days straight. I added 1 tablespoon of honey to my morning routine. No missing days, no uncertainty, just 1 basic spoonful each day. What happened over those 30 days truly amazed me. Now I want to be clear. This isn't a magic fix and I'm not a medical expert. But as someone in his 60s who cares deeply about liveliness, rest, stomach health, and staying alert as the years go by, I can tell you this honey changed the way I feel in my own body. In this talk, I'm going to guide you through everything I noticed, the tiny shifts, the bigger gains, the research that backs it up, and why honey might just be one of the most forgotten yet strong natural tools we have, especially as we grow older. So whether you're someone who's fed up with feeling tired, or just wondering if something so basic could actually make a difference, stay with me. This might be the most uplifting story you'll hear all week. Let's begin. Why honey? Now you might be asking, why honey? Out of all the things I could have tried, why this? The truth is, honey has been around for thousands of years. It's one of the oldest natural treatments known to humans. Ancient Egyptians used it to heal wounds. In traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic practice from India, honey was used to ease coughs, help digestion, and even balance energy. Our ancestors knew its strength. They just didn't have the studies to prove it yet. Fast forward to today, and science is finally catching up. What makes honey different from regular sugar is what's inside it and what's not. Real raw honey is packed with natural enzymes, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. It also contains something called flavonoids, plant compounds that help lower inflammation, support the heart, and even protect the brain. But here's the key. Not all sugars are made equal. Most processed sugars just spike your blood sugar and leave you crashing. But honey has a lower glycemic index, meaning it enters your bloodstream more slowly, giving you steady energy instead of a roller coaster. It also contains special types of natural sugars, names like trihalose and isomaltose, that your body handles differently. Some of these sugars can actually help steady blood sugar instead of spiking it. But let me make something very clear. This is not about eating more sugar. It's about replacing the bad stuff with something that gives your body something back. And that's what I wanted to find out. Could 1 small tablespoon of honey a day make a real difference? What I found amazed me. Let me share the first big change I noticed. Benefit 1. Reduced cravings and emotional eating. It started with something small but noticeable. About 5 or 6 days in, I realized I wasn't reaching for snacks the way I usually did. You know that feeling. When you walk past the pantry and your hand just sort of grabs something even if you're not hungry, that feeling started to fade. I wasn't fighting urges anymore. I just didn't have them. Now, to be fair, I've always had a bit of a sweet tooth. After dinner, I'd often want just a little something. A cookie, a piece of chocolate, a scoop of ice, cream. And honestly, most nights I'd give in. I'd tell myself I deserved it, or that it helped me relax. Maybe you can relate. But once I started taking honey in the morning, something changed. It was like I had already pleased that part of me. Just that 1 tablespoon of natural sweetness early in the day seemed to quiet the noise. At first I thought it was all in my head and some kind of placebo effect. But then I did a little digging, and the science made sense. Honey doesn't just taste sweet. It interacts with hormones in your gut, things like PYY and GLP-1, which are natural appetite controllers. These hormones help you feel full and satisfied. They send signals to your brain that say, "You're good, you've had enough." And unlike regular sugar, which triggers blood sugar spikes and drops that make you hungrier, honey helps balance things out. That means fewer dips in energy, fewer emotional cravings, and a better link with food throughout the day. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. One spoonful in the morning, and suddenly I had more control. I wasn't constantly chasing sugar to get through the afternoon. I felt steadier emotionally and physically. And when you're in your 60s or 70s, that kind of stability isn't just nice, it's a gift. Benefit 2. Balanced blood sugar and gentle energy, one of the most surprising changes I noticed, especially around the 2-week mark, was how steady my energy became throughout the day. Before this honey habit, I used to wake up dragging my feet, pour a cup of coffee or two, and then hit a wall mid-morning. Sometimes I'd get shaky or lightheaded between meals, especially if I forgot to eat on time. It was like my body was constantly playing catch-up with my blood sugar. But once I started taking a tablespoon of honey each morning, and remember, just 1 tablespoon, things began to even out. My mornings felt calmer, my energy more consistent, and I didn't crash like I used to. I felt like I was running on a slow-burning fuel instead of sparks. That's when I looked deeper into the science, and what I found made sense. You see, honey contains a unique blend of natural sugars like fructose, glucose, and something called trialose. Unlike table sugar, which spikes your blood glucose and drops you fast, these sugars are absorbed more slowly. Trialose in particular actually slows down the absorption of glucose, which means your body gets energy in a more stable, controlled way. Even more interesting, honey doesn't just act like fuel, it also seems to protect how our body handles sugar. Some studies suggest that honey can actually improve insulin sensitivity over time, especially when it replaces processed sugar in your diet. That's important, especially for people in our age group who might be managing pre-diabetes or watching their A1C levels. Now, I'm not saying honey is a magic fix for blood sugar issues, but in my experience, it felt like a helpful companion. My hands stopped shaking if I was a little late to lunch. I didn't need a sugary snack to keep going. I just felt steady. That kind of stability day after day builds confidence. And when your body feels balanced, your mind follows. Benefit 3. Lower stress and a calmer mind. I didn't expect this one at all. About 3 weeks in, I was sitting on my porch just watching the birds and sipping tea, and I realized something felt different. My thoughts weren't racing. My shoulders weren't tight. I felt calm in a way I hadn't in a while. Not sleepy, not sluggish, just at ease. Now, I'm no stranger to stress. Like most folks our age, I've lived through my share of raising kids, managing a career, worrying about health, and these days, trying to make sense of a fast-changing world. Stress can wear you down, not just emotionally, but physically. And as we age, it gets harder to bounce back. So I was curious, could honey really be playing a part in helping me feel calmer? As it turns out, it might. Honey has been shown to influence something called the HPA axis. That's short for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal. It's the system in your body that controls your stress response and regulates the hormone cortisol. Cortisol isn't all bad, but too much of it, especially when it stays high for too long, leads to problems like belly fat, high blood pressure, anxiety, and poor sleep. What the research suggests is that honey can help lower cortisol levels in stressful situations. It does this through its antioxidant content, things like flavonoids and phenolic acids, which help your body buffer against stress both inside and out. And there's more. When your blood sugar is steady, your mood often is too. No more sugar. Crashes that make you irritable or jittery. Just a gentle rise and fall that leaves you feeling clear-headed and grounded. In my own life, this translated into fewer anxious mornings, less emotional reactivity, and a greater sense of peace. I still had problems to solve, but I could meet them with a cooler head and a steadier heart. And that kind of emotional balance, it's priceless. Benefit 4. Less belly fat and visceral inflammation. This next benefit was more subtle at first, but after a full month, it became one of the biggest. I noticed my pants fit a little looser, around the waist, not dramatically, but noticeably. I hadn't changed anything else about my diet or exercise. Still the same morning walk, still the same meals. The only real difference was that daily spoonful of honey. Naturally, I was curious. Was it just in my head, or was something real happening? Here's what I learned. There's a special connection between honey, cortisol, and a type of fat called visceral fat. That's the kind of fat that builds up deep inside your abdomen, surrounding your organs. It's not the pinchable kind, it's the dangerous kind. Visceral fat is strongly linked to heart disease, diabetes, and inflammation. When our bodies are under stress, we produce more cortisol, and cortisol loves to store fat, especially in the belly. But the fascinating thing is that honey seems to naturally help lower cortisol, especially when consumed regularly. One study even showed that rats who were given honey had less visceral fat and better protection against fatty liver disease. The other reason? Honey helps regulate hunger. When you're not constantly hungry, you're less likely to overeat, especially late at night when most of us tend to reach for unhealthy choices. That steady appetite, combined with better blood sugar balance, means your body stores less fat and uses more for energy. Now, I'm not saying honey will melt belly fat overnight. That's not how it works. But it can support the body in working better by reducing stress, balancing hormones, and calming inflammation. When your body is less inflamed, it lets go of the extra weight more easily. For me, that meant a little more room in the waistband and a little more lightness in my step. And when your clothes fit better at any age, you feel a little more confident walking out the door. Benefit 5. Better digestion and a healthier gut. One of the most unexpected changes I noticed during this 30-day journey was how much better my digestion became. It wasn't something I was aiming for, but around the second week, I realized I felt lighter after meals, less bloated, more regular. Now, let's be honest, as we get older, digestion doesn't always work like it used to. Foods we once enjoyed with no problem might suddenly leave us uncomfortable. We might struggle with constipation or irregularity, or just feel sluggish after eating. It's frustrating, and it can really affect how we go about our day. But when I added that 1 tablespoon of honey to my morning routine, something shifted. My stomach felt calmer, meals didn't sit heavy the way they sometimes did, and within a couple of weeks I was more regular, no more guessing games with digestion. It turns out honey is a natural prebiotic. That means it feeds the good bacteria in your gut, the ones that help you digest food, absorb nutrients, and protect against harmful germs. When these good bacteria are well fed, they flourish, and your whole digestive system benefits. One scientific study showed that honey helps not only increase good bacteria like bifidobacteria and lactobacillus, but also reduces bad bacteria at the same time. That's pretty rare. Most foods shift the balance one way or the other, but honey seems to help create harmony in the gut. And since so much of our immune system and overall inflammation begins in the gut, a healthier digestive system means better health overall. So if you're someone who struggles with bloating, irregularity, or digestive discomfort, that simple spoonful of honey might be a natural way to give your gut a little extra help and bring back the comfort and ease we all want when it comes to food. Benefit 6. Reduced joint pain and inflammation. Now, this one caught me by surprise in the best possible way. Like many folks in their 60s and beyond, I've dealt with my fair share of aches and pains. For me, it's mostly in the knees and hands. I've always chalked it up to wear and tear, the price of getting older. Some mornings, the stiffness made it tough to get out of bed and cold weather. Forget it. I could feel it in every joint. But about 3 weeks into this honey habit, I noticed something strange. The stiffness wasn't as bad. My morning walks got easier. I could bend down and tie my shoes without wincing. Even the little things like opening a jar or kneeling in the garden felt smoother. I hadn't started a new supplement or changed my exercise routine. The only thing I had done differently was add that daily honey. And once again, the science backed it up. Honey contains natural compounds called flavonoids and polyphenols, powerful antioxidants that help reduce inflammation in the body. In fact, one large review of over 40 studies found that honey significantly reduced key markers of inflammation, including tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin-6, and interleukin-1 beta. Those are the chemical messengers that tell our body to get inflamed, and honey seems to help quiet that signal. What's even more impressive is that honey may inhibit an enzyme called cyclooxygenase 2. That's the same enzyme targeted by over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen. In simple terms, honey helps calm inflammation in a way that's gentle, natural, and easy to incorporate into everyday life. So if your joints feel stiff, sore, or inflamed, especially in the morning, adding honey to your routine might be worth trying. For me, it was like oiling the hinges on a squeaky door. Everything moved a little easier. Benefit 7. Improved heart health and cholesterol levels now. This last benefit is one I was actually skeptical about until I saw the numbers. Like many people in my age group, I keep an eye on my cholesterol. I get regular checkups, I try to eat well, and I've worked hard to avoid medication. But the numbers haven't always been perfect. My HDL, that's the good cholesterol, could have been higher, and my LDL, the bad cholesterol, needed to come or down a bit. So imagine my surprise when, after 30 days of adding honey to my routine, my follow-up lab work came back and the numbers had shifted in the right direction. My HDL had gone up, my LDL had dropped, and most surprisingly, my triglycerides were lower too. Naturally, I had to look into why. Turns out honey may influence lipid metabolism in a few interesting ways. Some studies suggest that certain natural compounds in honey, things called niacin-like substances, can help the body process and remove fats more efficiently. Others show that honey's antioxidant content may reduce something called oxidized LDL. That's the really dangerous kind of cholesterol that sticks to artery walls and leads to plaque buildup. In fact, a review of 7 different studies found that honey consumption was linked to higher HDL, lower LDL, and lower triglycerides across the board. The results were most noticeable when honey replaced processed sugars in the diet, which is exactly what I was doing. Now, I'm not saying honey is a cure for high cholesterol, but for me, it was a gentle and natural support. And knowing that something as simple as a spoonful of honey could help protect my heart, that gave me even more motivation to stick with it. Because at the end of the day, what matters most is being here, healthy, strong, and present for the people we love. Benefit 8. A stronger immune system and natural protection. This last benefit might be the most important one of all, especially as we get older. About halfway through this 30-day journey with honey, I realized something. While people around me were catching colds or feeling run down, I was feeling strong. My energy was steady. I wasn't coughing or sneezing like others in my circle were. I didn't get sick once. Not even a sniffle. At first, I thought maybe I'd just been lucky. But then I remembered something I had read years ago, that honey has natural immune-supporting properties. So I decided to take a closer look. Turns out honey has a long history of being used as a natural remedy to fight off illness, and now science is confirming that it's more than just folklore. Honey contains a variety of antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal compounds, including one called methyl glyoxal, which is especially concentrated in manuka honey. This compound, along with honey's natural acidity and enzymes like glucose oxidase, helps create an environment where harmful microbes simply can't thrive. But the benefits don't stop there. Honey also helps improve our gut health, and since nearly 70% of the immune system lives in the gut, that's a big deal. When honey feeds the good bacteria in your digestive system, it strengthens the front lines of your body's defense. It's like giving your immune system backup reinforcements. There's also growing evidence that honey may have immunomodulatory effects. That means it helps your immune system stay balanced, not just hyperactive. It supports your body in fighting off real threats while also calming unnecessary inflammation, which can be a root cause of chronic illness. And here's what really sold me. Even though I was eating just 1 tablespoon a day, I felt like I was giving my body something protective. Not a harsh supplement, not a synthetic pill, just a simple, natural food that's been trusted for generations. We all want to stay healthy as we age, not just to avoid illness, but to enjoy life with clarity, confidence, and vitality. For me, honey became a quiet ally in that journey. It didn't make me feel invincible, but it did make me feel supported. And sometimes, that's exactly what we need. How to start your honey habit now that I've shared everything I experienced? You might be wondering, how exactly do you start? What kind of honey should you use? When's the best time to take it? And are there any precautions to keep in mind? Let's break it down simply. First, stick with raw, unfiltered honey, not the processed kind in the little bear-shaped bottles. Raw honey still contains all the beneficial enzymes, antioxidants, and nutrients that get stripped away during heavy processing. If you can find local honey, even better. Local varieties often contain small amounts of regional pollen, which some believe can help with seasonal allergies, though more research is needed. If you're looking for the gold standard, consider Manuka, honey which comes from New Zealand. It's a bit more expensive, but it's known for having higher levels of natural antibacterial compounds, especially something called MgO or methyl-glyoxal. Look for a rating of MgO 400 or higher if you want the stronger benefits. As for how much, I kept it simple. 1 tablespoon per day, that's it. Not 2 or 3, just 1. And if you're sensitive to sweetness or watching your blood sugar closely, even 1 teaspoon can offer many of the same benefits. The best time to take it? I personally took mine first thing in the morning, either stirred into warm, not hot water with a squeeze of lemon, drizzled over a bowl of oats or plain yogurt, or just straight off the spoon. You don't want to mix. Honey into boiling water. The high heat can destroy some of the delicate enzymes and nutrients. Keep it warm, not hot. And finally, a quick word of caution. If you're diabetic or have blood sugar concerns, check with your doctor first. Honey is still a form of sugar, even if it's healthier than the refined kind. And never give honey to children. Under 1 year old, their immune systems aren't ready yet. For everyone else, though, a small daily dose of honey can be a gentle, natural addition to your routine. One that supports your energy, digestion, mood, and more. Just 1 spoonful, once a day. That's all it takes to begin. Conclusion. So after 30 days of adding just 1 tablespoon of honey to my daily routine, here's what I can honestly say. It didn't just sweeten my morning. It sweetened my life in ways I didn't expect. My cravings calmed down. My energy became more stable. I felt less anxious, more focused, and more in tune with my body. I moved easier, slept better, and felt supported. Not by some expensive program or complicated system, but by something simple, natural, and deeply nourishing. It reminded me that taking care of ourselves doesn't have to be hard. Sometimes the most powerful changes come from the smallest steps, a spoonful at a time. Now, will honey fix everything? Of course not. It's not a miracle. But it is a habit, a healthy, healing, hopeful habit that can support your body in doing what it was always meant to do, thrive. And maybe, like me, you've spent years putting others first, raising a family, working long hours, helping everyone around you. But now it's your time. Time to listen to your body. Time to nourish yourself. Time to feel good in your own skin again. So here's my gentle challenge to you. Try it. Just 1 tablespoon of raw honey each morning for 30 days. Nothing else. See how your body responds. See how your heart and mind shift. And if you do, come back here and let me know. Because at this stage in life, we're not just sharing tips. We're building something bigger. A community of wise, kind, thoughtful people who still believe in growth, in health, and in the power of simple things. If this talk spoke to you, I'd love for you to share it with someone you care about. A spouse, a friend, a neighbor who's struggling with energy or sleep or stress. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let's talk about your experience, your questions, or even your own honey stories. I read every one of them. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to Elder's Insight. We talk about the kind of wisdom that only comes with age and how to live well with every year we're given. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and as always, stay kind to yourself.